Now, it's arguably the biggest political question that the United Kingdom has faced, whether Scotland will remain a part of the Union or whether it will go it alone. Cathy is in Glasgow tonight. Cathy.
Thanks, John. Well, welcome to Glasgow and Oran Moor, a pub and arts centre in the city's West End. Now, Oran Moor is Gaelic for big song. When it comes to the question of independence, there doesn't seem to be that much in the way of harmony in Scotland right now. With a year and a day until this country decides whether or not to go it alone, the debate is already well underway. Most opinion polls show a majority still in favour of the union. But the Yes campaigners claim they are beginning to sway the undecided. And they've got next year's Commonwealth Games here in Glasgow and the 700th anniversary of the Battle of Bannockburn, Robert the Bruce's great victory over the English, to help their cause. Well, in a moment, we'll hear from a range of opinion here in Oran Moor. But first, our political correspondent, Michael Crick, has been to meet both camps, as well as the voters they need to convince.
Just outside Stirling, they're building a new visitors' centre for the Battle of Bannockburn. Ready for next year's 700th anniversary and Scotland's carefully timed vote a year tomorrow. The Battle of Bannockburn wasn't actually in September 1314, but in June of that year. And Robert the Bruce not only defeated the English, but through his victory managed to assert himself over his rival Scots as king of the whole of an independent Scotland. But independence isn't everyone's choice, even here. So you're going to stick with the United Kingdom?
United Kingdom, mate, all the way.
And is there anything that Alex Salmond could do or say or to persuade you otherwise?
Nah.
A yes vote to Scotland, and hopefully it will change things for the better.
I don't believe, for myself really, independence is the right way forward for us. I don't think splitting up with, you know what I mean, for England and Scotland, I don't think so.
The Nationalists have insisted this week that David Cameron should face Alex Salmond in a TV debate next year.
I think people would expect and want to see Alec and David Cameron come head to head and debate the issues. This, after all, is a debate about where decisions are best taken. Here in the Scottish Parliament, where we get governments we vote for, or in the UK Parliament, where often we get governments we don't vote for, like the one at the moment.
No, says the Better Together campaign, not David Cameron. Why not debate with the former Labour Chancellor, Alistair Darling, instead?
Alex Salmond wants to turn this into Scotland against England. It's not that at all. Scottish opinion, from all the evidence we've seen, is against independence. He's got to win the argument in Scotland. Cameron has made it clear it's up to Scotland how it votes. Now, I don't understand why someone like Alex Salmond, who's belonged to a party that have had 80 years to prepare for this, is scared of debating with people in Scotland the future of our country.
But since his book, Alistair Darling and Gordon Brown seem to have fallen out, with Darling running his cross-party Better Together, Brown concentrating on Labour's efforts to defend the Union.
Do you and Gordon Brown still talk?
Look, we've never provided running commentary on how often we talk.
Well, when people say that, one wonders. Is it right you don't talk?
You know, frankly, what is more important actually is, you know, the future of Scotland.
Well, it seems pretty important if the two most senior Labour politicians in the public mind, anyway, in Scotland, are not talking at a time of an issue like this.
We're on the same side in this argument. You know, we've been talking about the same things for years, and we will continue to do so. But we are campaigning on the same side, you know, and frankly, the issue in Scotland, I suspect, will really turn on what people make of the arguments for our independence, and both of us are absolutely on the same page as far as that.
In the foyer of the Holyrood Parliament this month, the new Great Tapestry of Scotland. 160 panels sewn by 1,000 people, using 300 miles of thread.
The artist suggested the colours and we decided on the stitches.
It's a remarkable work which may make Scots feel history shows Scotland could go it alone.
Well, when I first started stitching, I said I wouldn't stitch if they were going to use it for political purposes. and they didn't. So they said they wouldn't, but I'm not so sure about it now.
As
you're asking me this question,
it may make people feel, you know, more Scottish.
well, as you're asking me this question, it obviously is in people's minds. It's not why we started stitching it.
You're clearly not going to vote for independence.
I am not.
Does it make you feel more Scottish?
Nothing will ever make me feel more Scottish than I am. I'm Scottish to the core.
How will you be voting then in the referendum next year?
Oh, definitely yes.
Definitely yes to independence?
Yes.
But polls so far suggest the queues this month outside the Parliament to view the tapestry won't be reflected with queues to back independence a year tomorrow.